This week, the national public health emergency for COVID came to an end. It's not a signal that COVID is gone forever by any means, but it is a sign things are not as serious as they probably once were, thus no longer an emergency. We've seen several comments that you've texted into us about this since the announcement. One of those, though, has caught the eye of here on the 208, specifically Joe Parrish, because we wanted to find out about this stuff. We've been looking at wastewater treatment facility in Boise and how it's been related to COVID, well, I guess since the beginning, haven't we?
Yeah, and since it's kind of, winding down, there's some questions, some natural questions of, are they still going to do this program? Because, of course, during COVID, we talked a lot about the wastewater testing and the levels of COVID being found and how valuable that is. And early on in COVID, Boise worked to analyze the amount of COVID that they found there. And it's impressive technology that actually yields really some high-quality data. And that data showed surges of COVID in cities, which helped medical experts and city leaders make their informed decisions. But a big question, is that program now a footnote of history? Long story short, City of Boise says no.
We've built it up over time as a pretty core program that we have, and we are continuing to send to a couple of different labs. We're still primarily focused on COVID. We've built up such a good trend of data now that we want to continue that and see benefit in that, especially with some of the variant analysis as well. We are evaluating other possibilities for other public health indicators, things like influenza and RSV, but not quite at a public kind of facing space on that yet.
So yes, the program has a lot of room to grow and show more data sets. And something that was actually mentioned early on in the program back at the beginning of COVID, and one of you texted in about this, was the possibility of showing opioid levels in our water. So is this happening in Boise now?
That was certainly kind of the beginning of our relationship with one of the labs that was doing this work, as we had been introduced to them now years ago about that possibility, and it wasn't the right fit for the city at the time. Certainly that possibility exists, but that's not something that we've been asked to do recently.
So whoever texted in, I can't remember your name, but there's your answer. So to expand on that, though, flu, RSV data, maybe more down the road with maybe some opioid data. So kind of depends on what the demands of the community are. But with the investment in this technology, what is the value right now as COVID is winding down?
I think it continues to have this broad public health data set value. I think what we've, in addition to having this trend over time and the changing kind of state of what we're seeing specifically around COVID, but the two benefits that I think we may not have predicted, but certainly have been beneficial and will continue into the future, are the relationships that we formed and the partnerships with public health agencies, with other agencies, that we can really leverage wastewater data as a community asset that's anonymized but community-wide in a way that other data can be really difficult to gather.
So, Brian, a little bit of a tease. Next week, we are going to circle back to this conversation because there's a lot of new stuff to talk about on this topic, I'm told. It's in the works at Public Works.
It is.
I nailed it.
Close the lid on that.
I worked on that all day, Brian.
Thanks, Joe.